Welcome back to another episode of Brooklyn Nets Franchise here on 2K25. In this episode, we are going to be simulating the playoffs as well as getting into the offseason all the way up until the draft. What we're going to do here first is we are going to simulate this round of the playoffs. We see New York beating Cleveland, Indiana beating Toronto, Boston beating Miami, and Milwaukee beating Chicago, all within 4 or 5 games. Out west, a lot of similar situations, closest series being Sacramento and San Antonio, and Sacramento moves on in 6. All the high seeds are in it so far, 1 through 4. We're going to go to the next round. Milwaukee wins in 6 versus Boston, and the Knicks win in 7 versus Indiana. Dallas sweeps the Kings, and Minnesota wins in 5 versus Golden State. Conference final matchup is going to be Dallas and Minnesota. New York and Milwaukee still the top 2 seeds. And Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson are your conference finals MVPs. First seed finally loses Dallas in 5 to Minnesota, opposite of what happened in real life last year. And New York beating Milwaukee, bit of a shocker to me. The finals, Timberwolves win in 5. Anthony Edwards is your finals MVP. I mean, he absolutely deserves it, don't get me wrong. Averaging 37 throughout the whole playoffs on 53% from 3 and 53% from the field, 88 from the line. I mean, come on, he just took it to a whole nother level, and he absolutely deserves it. Getting to the player retirements first stage of the offseason. I think I don't want LeBron to retire just yet. I think I'm okay with everybody else. Obviously, you don't want to let a ton of guys go, but, I mean, they're all pretty old, so I'm going to let them go. Hall of Fame inductees, Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul, great. Jersey retirements, that's exactly what that should be. League meetings, all captains will now choose the players drafted to the All-Star team. Is that not what it already was? I really don't know what that other rule changes, but here we are now at the draft lottery. We've got some picks in here. We've got one from Houston, and we've got our own. We're going to go pick by pick. At pick 14, the Oklahoma City Thunder are picking. Now, that is the one that they got from Philly. Philly obviously didn't make the playoffs. Our chance to jump up, we do not. We stick at the 13th pick. That is our pick. Again, we still have Houston's, and that is going to stay at 12 as well. So we've got picks 12 and 13. Lottery still coming down. Knicks at 11 from Washington. Now are the Thunder going to jump up in the draft? They are. So that's not what you want to see. Obviously, the Pelicans fall to the 10th pick. Magic sticking at 9. At 8, we've got the Hornets. Are they going to climb? Nope, they stick at 8. 7th pick, high odds to the Pistons, and they will keep their pick. Next up, the Grizzlies, best odds for 6, and they jump into the top 4. The Blazers landed this one, and now is the Jazz going to get the 5th pick? They are. And as stated perfectly here by this 2K reporter, next year's Jazz pick is going to be going to the Thunder unprotected because this one got protected in the lottery. Now Grizzlies sneak into the top 4. Are they going to pick at 4? They will. So the Grizzlies at 4. Still no OKC is going to be in here. Are they going to stay with the 3rd pick? They are. So OKC is not going to get one of the top 2 generational guys. I'm definitely happy about that. The Spurs potentially getting pick 2. They will, which means that the number 1 pick goes to the Houston Rockets, which is their pick. So Rockets make out with the number 1 pick. Then you got the Spurs, Thunder, Grizzlies, Jazz, Blazers, Pistons, Hornets, Magic, Pelicans, Knicks, and then the Nets back-to-back. We also have the 18th pick from the Lakers. We traded for that one at the deadline. And then we also have the 27th and 28th picks as well. I don't really care about the staff signings, so we're going to skip to the combine. Highest vertical jump, Felix Sims, Dash Mitchell, and Jaren Bamba. All pretty interesting players there, tied for that highest 44 vertical. As for bench press, all centers as you expect, but Dash Mitchell, surprisingly strong. Fastest sprint time, Jaren Bamba and Jonte Wright, as you expect. The lane agility time, fastest was Debo Moore, and then Bamba tied there. Pre-draft workouts, Dash Mitchell, definitely. I like Debo Moore. Those are guys that are realistically going to fall to our pick. Shep Pickett, Bamba, I guess Baku, but really more like Brewer or Hawk Kittles or Jack Ayers or Porter Jacobs. And then I like Xavier Lacey there too. So we get a little bit more information on these guys. And now we're right at the NBA draft. Now, I do want to kind of look at the draft board here because this is kind of how I have things. I like Caden Banks and Frazier. Frazier is definitely somebody that we would want to look at maybe trading up for possibly. I think the Rockets are pretty set with Sandro Bagley. Spurs are pretty unshakable with Caden Banks. I think both of those are guaranteed. But yeah, I think that we're going to have to play this draft kind of by ear because if somebody we like kind of falls down the board, we're definitely going to have to get on the phone and make some calls. So without further ado, first pick in the draft, the Houston Rockets are now on the clock and they will select Sandro Bagley, the 6'10 power forward center out of Clemson. Bagley comes in as an 81, obviously not a great mid-range player, but he can move the ball a little bit. He definitely shoots it well for a guy his size, great defender, great athlete, but comes in as a B potential. So is he going to be able to meet that potential, or is this another, kind of Jabari Smith Jr. type of player? Only time will tell. The Spurs are now on the clock at pick number 2, and they will select Caden Banks. So the mock drafts were right. Caden Banks, hell of a player. Probably would be the number 1 in most drafts. I mean, he's a great defender, great playmaker, great scorer from all 3 levels, great athlete, again, B potential, but he's got good IQ. Definitely a great pick in this draft, and the Spurs got their point guard of the future for sure. That brings up the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm not really thinking that we're going to trade up to pick 3, and they're going to take Des Gabriel. The kid from Indiana, absolutely a great player, B- potential, but yeah, well-rounded is the way to explain his game. Sky's the limit with this guy. He's a good interior defender, good perimeter defender, good playmaker, good shooter, good scorer, good rebounder. He's smart, he's athletic, he's the total package, and he'll fit right in with what this OKC team is going to need from him right away. Next up is Memphis at 4, and they're going to take Kenny Foster Jr. I love this pick for them, and when we were talking about the draft and we were talking about this guy, he's kind of like a Kevin Durant clone, 7 feet tall. He's not afraid to tell you how tall he actually is. He's a great three-point shooter, great scorer, great rebounder, big athlete. And, yeah, the potential seems to be lower for a lot of these guys. We'll see how much, playing time they get in their rookie years. But, I mean, the top 4 in this draft, all, great overalls. Jazz pick at 5, and they take Cliff Perry. Not a surprise at all. He's definitely the lowest guy overall-wise so far, but he's an athlete, and he's got the potential. I can tell you that absolutely for sure. Cliff Perry did go to Clemson, teammates with Sandro Bagley. It makes you wonder if maybe he, wasn't overshadowed by the number 1 pick. Could he have, been picked higher? I think 5 is a fair slot for him. Great 3-and-D potential, floor, but he's a very well-rounded guy, and he could definitely turn into the next superstar. Jazz definitely needs somebody like this to build around, and they've got their guy now that they don't have Lauri Markkanen on the roster anymore. And the Blazers are now on the clock, and they want to trade for Bagley? Absolutely not. And they're going to take Vinny Patterson out of Cuba. So the first international prospect is off the board. Vinny Patterson, great player. 77 overall. He's going to have great playmaking and defense, great scoring. Not quite the athlete that someone like Caden Banks is, but he does all of the right things, and definitely an interesting piece that the guard-heavy Blazers are going to be able to use. This brings us now to the Detroit Pistons pick, and they want to try and make a blockbuster trade. They want to get Herb Jones and Aaron Wiggins for this pick. I think the Pistons could use Herb Jones. I'm actually going to say yes and let the Pelicans do this trade. 7th overall and a second for both Herb Jones and Andrew Wiggins. And now the Pelicans are on the clock at 7, and they go Meek Perry. The wild card of the draft has gone. This guy is a Wembanyama-esque player, and he goes right about where you expect him to. 7 or 8 slot was kind of what we said. He's got all the potential in the world. He's going to be a freak out west, a great pairing with Zion Williamson, just a well-rounded guy, and like we see, that A-plus potential. Sky is really the limit with him. Next up, we've got Charlotte at 8. And who are they going to go? They're going to go Jonte Wright the 4th out of Gonzaga. Definitely a top 4 player in this draft, no doubt in my mind. He's a great scorer. The potential with him is through the roof. Great athleticism. He's already a good playmaker, too. The 6'7" guard out of Gonzaga is absolute steel at 8. So I've got my eye on a few guys here. I would definitely love to try and trade for pick 9 with the Magic. Pick 19 wouldn't be bad either. I don't mind moving pick 13 and pick 18. 12 and 18 for 9 and 19. No, I do not want to do that. I am also willing to throw in 28. No, I don't want to do that. What are some offers? They seem content on taking someone, so we're going to let them. Magic want to pick somebody, and they're going to take the guy I was targeting. Russell Frazier definitely should not have fallen to 9. 78 overall, super well-rounded guy, good defender, good playmaker, good shooter. Kind of like that Marcus Smart guy, and as you can see, A-plus potential. I was enamored with him. He had Hall of Fame potential. I really, really wanted him, but Magic had their heart set on him. He's going to be a great guard in the backcourt for Jalen Suggs to kind of play off of. Really, really happy for the Magic, but also very upset that we weren't able to get him ourselves. That's going to put the Pelicans on the clock, and they are going to go Dash Mitchell, somebody I would have looked to, select if he made it to our pick. At this point, we're looking for any help we can get. The Pelicans getting great wing talent in this draft here with Mitchell. They also got a good big in Meek Perry. I like what they're doing to try and rebuild. And now the Knicks, before we pick, take Kirk Miles. Not worried about this one at all. Kirk Miles at 11 is certainly a developmental guy. Great potential with him. He's a good athlete, good scorer. But he's a little undersized for the 2 guard, but he kind of brings that Josh Hart type of role to the team. Good athlete, but he's more of a scorer. I don't really know. I mean, Brunson, honestly, is kind of a good comparison for him. So maybe they have the next Jalen Brunson. Who knows? Kid from Missouri is going to be great. We've got back-to-back picks, and I'm going to have to think about this one, folks. As much as I love Hawk Kittles, I'm just not sold on him as a player. I like Debo Moore. I like Brian Knight. I don't think we're in that range. But I think, out of all the guys, I think Jaren Bamba is the one that we're going to take here. We need that point guard play. I'm not sure exactly how great this pick is going to, turn out, but I think Bamba is the better player than Kirk Miles. I think he gives us exactly what we're looking for. Not a high ceiling guy, but he's a great athlete, great physical player, good inside scorer, and he can bring back that gritty Brooklyn Nets type of play that we're really looking for. And now is the real decision. I knew I was taking him, and now I'm not going to lie, between three guys. It's Shep Pickett, Brian Knight, and Debo Moore Jr. Breaking these guys down more, Debo Moore obviously went to USC, averaged 24 points per game on 44% from the field, 42 from three. He's a really well-rounded player. Obviously a good athlete, good three-point shooter. Potential doesn't look like it's going to be super high, but out of this range of players, I think it'd be okay. Shep Pickett averaged a pretty efficient 26 at Indiana, and he had to deal with Des Gabriel as his teammate. This is another guy who plays good defense. He'll score the ball for you, but he's more about athlete. And honestly, having this conversation, I convinced myself it's going to be Shep Pickett out of Indiana. I'm really happy with this selection. I hope it works out for us. Again, great defender, and that A-plus potential tells me everything I needed to know. I mean, that's the steal of the draft right there at 13. Probably should have picked him ahead of Bamba. He's definitely going to be an impact player. But, yeah, worst case, he's a 3-and-D guy. But the sky is seriously the limit with him. Really excited to see what he can do for us right out the bat. So next up, we've got the Thunder, and they are going to take Hawk Kittles. I mean, that's just a great pick. If we had a need at center, I probably would have taken him. Great rebounder, great athlete. Yeah, you see the A potential. He's going to be awesome. And he has that potential to space the floor. The 7-1 center out of Kansas is a great pick by the Thunder, and they keep piling up on great talent in the draft. Jazz at 15 take Porter Jacobs from Florida. This guy is the Al Horford clone, and Danny Ainge sees it. He loves himself that Al Horford type of player. He's not the highest of ceilings, but he'll be an average guy, really, really good role player in the league, and maybe be able to get this Jazz team some much-needed talent. 16, the Spurs are going to take Debo Moore Jr. He finally stops the slide. He falls all the way to 16, which I was not expecting. He's not a good rebounder. He's definitely more of a guard. He's more of a scorer than anything right now. He's a good athlete. The potential is just not there with him. The ceiling feels pretty capped. I would say kind of like a Josh Jackson type of vibe with him, and not in the good way. We looked at him, we liked what we saw, but I just don't think that we're going to regret taking Shep Pickett over him. And now the Thunder up at 17, and they want to trade. They want to give the Hornets this pick and take Nick Richards and Royce O'Neal. I'm going to say no, that doesn't make any sense. And they are going to take Jack Ayers III out of Kansas. So the two Kansas teammates actually go to the same team. Hawk Kittles out of Kansas, and then now Jack Ayers III. Good inside scorer, good three-point shooter, decent defender, decent athlete. Again, that's the type of role player guy that the Thunder would love to have, and he's going to be an instant impact type of guy. Brings us to our pick now, and I still don't really know what I want to do here. Elton Brewer is an interesting name for sure. He averaged 21 points per game, albeit on not so great efficiency. Our scouting says that he's going to be a great athlete, a great defender, not a high potential guy, but someone who can come in right away and do a lot of good things. He's definitely slated around this pick. So is Gerard Baku, the Romanian big man. He's more of a power forward traditionally. I definitely see the skills that translate, but we don't really need big man. Brian Knight is just the pure scoring guy, good three-point shooter and mid-range guy. He's a decent defender. I definitely could see the potential with him, but I don't want a total logjam. He kind of feels like he's just Cam Thomas if Cam Thomas had a couple more inches to him. But looking at our roster, obviously now we have Jared Bamba here, so we're pretty okay at the guard. Still have Kevin Huerter there. Could use some small forward depth. Tate is definitely gone after this year. Clowney tore his ACL, which is awful, but we've got decent center depth, nothing too crazy. So at the end of the day here, I don't really know what we should do. I feel like something we've really lacked all year was bench scoring, but we've also lacked a lot of defense. I just really am torn here. If we were talking about who is going to go next, Pablo Esparza could be the best player on the board right now. Very well-rounded guy, definitely better size. He's a little bit older. And that's why I feel like ultimately it comes down to Elton Brewer and Brian Knight. Looking at our picks, we don't pick again until 27 and 28. All right, I have decided with the 18th pick in this 2025 NBA draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Brian Knight, the 6'6" guard out of Georgetown. We need scoring. We need size. I think Kevin Huerter is cool, but we are probably going to end up packaging him at some point. And Elton Brewer does go right next pick to the Magic. We're going to look at both of these guys side by side because obviously this is who the draft choice was between. Decent defender for sure, not an interior player. That's why he's at the 2. But he's a great three-point scorer. That grade is no joke. And A- potential. You got to love that. I think he could transition into a great NBA wing, and I'm really satisfied with the selection. Elton Brewer is no joke, though. Just not as high of a ceiling of a guy, and ultimately at this type of a pick, we took the shot on Brian Knight. I do feel like we made the right call here. Clippers are going to take Lance Parks, and the Raptors are going to try and make a trade. The Hornets are just trying to get rid of Royce O'Neal, and they're giving up their 2027 pick. If you want to do that, you can absolutely do that. And they select Wyatt Yates. Interesting there. Pacers now selecting Pablo Esparza, so his fall stops there. The Celtics take Xavier Lacey. Great pick for sure. San Antonio Spurs go Gerard Baku. Was wondering when that guy was going to go. Now the Hawks take Luca Matola from Italy, the Italian prospect. And now the Golden State Warriors select Onyx Robinson. So a lot of good players there. We are going to look at the draft summary real quickly. Just getting through that. Parks, 75 overall, well-rounded guy. Just going to be a role player most likely in this league. Yates is a high-potential guy, has a high floor, thinking like a Peyton Pritchard type of player. He's a gritty player out of Alabama. Gotta love him. Esparza, exactly as we said, developmental guy, got the potential, but he's already 21, so we'll see how his development goes. Celtics take Lacey, again, Pritchard type of guy, although the potential might be a little bit lower there. Gerard Baku spaces the floor very well, and he actually has high potential. Surprised that he fell all the way to 24, and the Spurs scoop him up. Luca Matola, all-around type of guy. Really perplexing pick, honestly. Not sure how he made it at this point. And then Onyx Robinson, a much more polished player with great potential out of Michigan State to Golden State. They pick well in the first round. And now we've got some options here. Great scorer out of Syracuse is Cash Amato. His comparison is Dante Exum, though. I'm not totally sure if that's true. Doesn't look like he's got high potential, though. Ade Akobo, the Nigerian prospect, definitely surprised that he's not, already been picked. There's a lot of different players here, all of whom that really deserve to be picked in this draft. The fun pick here is to take Stevie Pickett. Why? Because he's the brother of Shep Pickett. They both went to Indiana. He has the starter ceiling as Aaron Gordon, 18 points per game on pretty meh efficiency. Grades-wise, again, it's obvious he's a project, but how often do you get to have brothers playing on the same team? We're taking Stevie Pickett. And we have back-to-back picks anyways. I think that pick was definitely a fun one. Let's just kind of look at these guys' ceilings here, because Hayden Richmond apparently has an all-star ceiling. I don't know about that. He's more depth, kind of that type of Trendon Watford type of guy. Dell Stevenson is an interesting piece, backup bench type of guy. He has theoretically a higher upside than some of these other guys. It really comes down to what you value and what we need. And honestly, I think Ulrich Svensson, the Swedish prospect, is kind of what we need right now. I'm going to take him. I feel pretty good about all the selections that we've made here. Obviously, Stevie Pickett has the potential to turn into a great NBA player. He's going to have to sit and develop for a while, but his brother is going to be ready to play right away. Shep has made a name for himself at Indiana, and I can't wait for him to be the face of the Nets. As for Svensson, good all-around player. No real holes in his game, no real weaknesses, nothing too crazy that stands out. Just a very well-constructed player. Not a high ceiling, but he can definitely be a body to come out there and play basketball. And that is it for our picks. We have one pick next year. We were definitely attacking heavy in this draft. I think we made out with a lot of talent. We're going to go quickly through the rest of this. Ade Okobo stops falling and lands in Dallas at pick 29. Dell Stevenson to the Jazz. Just taking a look at both of those guys. Ade Okobo, definitely someone we thought about. Pretty similar to Svensson, both raw prospects, but Okobo just a little more raw at this point in time. Stevenson, same kind of thing. And so Cash Amato stops the slide to the Timberwolves. Stevie J to the Kings. Wyatt Splitter goes to the Knicks. Magic select Allie Bates. And now the Hornets take Wink Ruffin. Glad that he stopped sliding down the board. Hayden Richmond, Grant Williams type of player, goes to the Celtics. Boris Wagner to the Hornets. And Ciro Navarro, guy that I feel like we were talking about in the first episode of this series. Maybe not, but I thought that the international guard would probably make his way into the first round. He did not. That's Wagner for you. Richmond, honestly, good role player. Don't see him with too high of a ceiling. Ollie Bates was a good player. No real high ceiling there for him. Wink Ruffin, pretty average overall guy. Splitter, decent potential, especially at this point in the draft. But Stevie J, a good project pick there from Washington. And then this is Cash Amato. We know what he can do. But yeah, that potential just not where you would have liked it to be. Now we go Carl Joseph to the Warriors and Clyde Collier, someone again that I would have targeted at this point in the draft had we had second-round picks. Nothing too special with him there, and Carl Joseph could eventually turn into something. And then we're going to keep it moving. Franklin Poole and Gus Hunter to the Thunder, Braden Goose to the Hawks, Joe Carl to the Cavs, the Hawks on back-to-back picks. Pick those fellas there. And now the Spurs take Bryce Thomas, Darrell Marion, and then Felix Sims goes to the Rockets. The Jazz, Philippe Petit, Clayton Holden to the Pistons, Max Stickley to the Pacers, Augustine to the Spurs again. Murray Phillips, funny-looking dude I designed from A&M, goes to the Magic. And now the Bulls take Jonathan Rivers. The Wizards take Cedric Chandler. Cavs go Phil Braddock. Wayne Peeler to the Knicks. The Hawks, final pick, take Connor White. And the Mavs, with the last pick in the draft, go Allen Larson. Out of all those guys, not really a ton of notable players. Nobody really that high of an overall to begin with. Some fun, interesting guys, but nobody of note. Obviously, most of the stuff happening at the top of the draft. Some really fun fits. I like Kenny Foster in Memphis. They need that size and spacing. I love the fit for Des Gabriel in OKC. Spurs with Caden Banks. Rockets with Sandro Bagley. Really love how all of this turned out so far. Rookie signing, we are absolutely signing all of our guys. I mean, this is a great rookie class here. Jaron Bamba, Shep Pickett, Brian Knight, Stevie Pickett, and Ulrich Svensson. Welcome to the Brooklyn Nets organization. We're absolutely going to set the team options for Roddy and Clowney. This is just kind of a heads up of what's going on in the league. The Kyrie, LeBron, Jimmy Butler, Fred VanVleet, and Middleton, and Harden, and Reed, all declining their player options. Even guys like Jalen Duren and John Collins declining their player options. Andre Drummond wants out, I guess, so that's funny. Kevin Porter Jr., don't care. But yeah, so qualifying offers, I'm not really sure how much I care. Potential, I mean, these guys just aren't that good. I'm not going to worry about it. And that brings us to the moratorium. Now, I definitely thought that we would be a little bit, it would take a little bit longer. So I actually am going to look at free agency. We technically have a lot of money here, but I don't really know what I want to spend it on. Definitely not looking at Josh Giddey's. I mean, I don't really know. Let's look at the roster as it stands right now. You got Ben Simmons, Jaron Bamba, and Shake Milton. Good guard rotation there. Really happy about that. Then you've got Cam Thomas, Brian Knight, and Kevin Huerter. Couldn't be happier about that. Shep Pickett, Zaire, who's going to take a step up, Ulrich Svensson, and David Roddy. And then we have Stevie Pickett and Noah Clowney, Claxton, and Sharp, and Zeller. So I guess we need like centers. Steven Adams is on the block here. I guess his potential is high enough. He's probably going to be able to keep his overall or whatever. Maybe we bring back Steven Adams. Oh, whoa. Yeah, let's bring back Steven Adams. With that contract, $8 million a year for 3 years? Are you kidding me? Yeah, we will absolutely offer you that. And then, yeah, we have Trendon Watford here, who I'm absolutely going to offer a contract to. Yeah, thank you. We'll offer you $6 million a year for 4 years. How's that sound? Probably pretty bad, right? Steven Adams and Trendon Watford back, renouncing the rights on Tate and Green. I'm cool with that. Agree to terms on contracts with Watford and Adams. And then we'll be through the moratorium phase. LeBron goes back to the Lakers. Kyrie back to the Mavs. Pacers retain Miles Turner. Fred VanVleet back to the Rockets. Reed back to the Timberwolves. I mean, pretty much everybody making, keeping their guys. Aaron Wiggins ends up going to the Bulls. And the Clippers signed Brook Lopez. Tyus Jones to the Mavericks is interesting. Obviously, we signed Steven Adams back. Gary Trent to the Nuggets. Nick Richards to the Lakers. And so on. A lot of interesting moves have already happened. But looking at our roster, we've got 3 guards there. So that's 6 players now. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So we have plenty of players. No need to worry about that. Stevie Pickett is 100% going to the G League. And I'll probably throw Svensson in there too. It's really all just going to be touch and go. We'll have to see how the season goes, but I don't think we need to sign anybody else. So I am just going to zip through the free agency like this, and then we're going to have to look at it this way. Jimmy Butler signs to the Spurs on a 1-year deal, so the Spurs are looking nasty. Josh Giddey to the Hornets is an odd one, to say the least, for sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of interesting signings on the last day of free agency there, but that looks like the big one. Now let's get into player progression here. Cam Thomas somehow does not go up that much, which is obviously disappointing. Nick Claxton goes up a lot. Day'Ron Sharpe goes up a good amount. Steven Adams regressed, but we knew that was going to happen. I'm not too worried about it. Zaire is up to a 76 at least, and so is Roddy. So that is good to see. Zeller is regressing as well. That's not great. And Clowney, 76, is pretty much what he was in the first place. Looking at the Summer League, what seed are we? We are the 23rd seed going against the OKC Thunder, and we get eliminated pretty much immediately. We'll look at that game there. Shep Pickett, not too great, although I'm assuming that is Stevie down here. It is. I didn't realize making this, but Stevie and Shep are going to be very hard to tell apart. It's going to be hard to tell them apart in the box score, but that's okay. Somehow we signed Isaiah Joe just to a Summer League deal, I guess. Brian Knight shoots us out of that game, 3 for 12 from 3. So, yeah, we got mini Kevin Huerter on the squad. That's awesome. We're going to simulate Summer League. Houston Rockets end up winning it. No surprise. Although the surprise definitely is that it was led by Markelle Fultz. Guys, this is the Summer League team. He's 27. What are we doing? FIBA qualifiers. Just out of curiosity, Jason Tatum did not do well. That sucks. And the U.S. actually loses to Canada. Marcus McCollum out of Virginia Tech destroys us there. Chicago is going to be the all-star city, and I am going to load it in. It's not completed yet. But yeah, Nets draft class number 2. So we will simulate through the Hoops Summit. We'll take a look. These are some of the guys that are going to be in this upcoming draft. Emmett Lemon is awesome. Studley Bond, probably going to be the number 1 pick out of Syracuse. Baxter Lobo from North Carolina. Those are really the top 3 guys. We'll see them eventually, but fun game there. USA beating World. I'm not sure why Clay Gooden is on the World team as he goes to Oregon, but he was balling out for him, so that's fun. Yeah, all these guys are from the World team except for Gooden, who just goes to Oregon. But without further ado, we're going to go advance to the next season. I lied. All right, we're definitely going to release Cody Zeller. All right, who should be traded realistically? Can Roddy be traded? I'll definitely take this Trailblazers pick if we want to offer it up. No, they do not. All right, Bulls, let's go your 2028 pick. Can we get it for David Roddy? We can. Wow, 2028 first-round pick for David Roddy is done. Offseason deal. And there we go. That's down to 15 players. We are on to the next season. Didn't think we were going to do that. Yes, we're absolutely letting LeBron James go on a farewell tour. So, yeah, LeBron is definitely done after this year, still in LA. I'm really excited about this offseason. I feel like we made a lot of good changes to this team. Obviously drafted Jaren Bamba with the 12th pick in the draft. Very well-rounded guy. Just a killer athlete, too. Really excited about the scoring off the bench with Brian Knight. And we drafted, obviously, Shep Pickett, who could be a franchise cornerstone-level player. Noah Clowney is going to take some time getting back, so Stevie Pickett might actually have to play sometimes. We will see. I'm not super worried about it. It'll probably be more Elrich Svensson. And then, yeah, we've got Steven Adams, Day'Ron Sharpe, and Nick Claxton as well. Looking at the game plan and what our rotation's probably going to look like, I think Bamba, Thomas, Pickett, Watford, Claxton for right now. And then maybe Brian Knight and Simmons, Adams and Sharpe and Williams off the bench. And then, of course, we have guys like Kevin Huerter and Milton and Svensson and Pickett that will absolutely be able to, have minutes as we go. In the next episode, we will play the Chicago Bulls. They are definitely a team that we're going to have to compete with in this middle pack of the NBA. I mean, this is an interesting team for sure. I like Brian Knight off the bench. I definitely like Shep Pickett and Bamba getting minutes early. We're a young team. We're a scrappy team. We made a lot of picks, and I feel like we've got a lot of good guys to try and build around for the future. We'll have to see in the next episode how we start off our season, but if you did make it this far, thank you so much for watching. It was a fun offseason. I really liked the way that the teams played. Before we do get into the next episode, I am going to have to manually go in and kind of just make sure that all the teams, lineups make sense and players are playing in the right spots. That's all I've got for you guys. Like I said, if you stuck around till the end, I really appreciate you. I will catch you all in the next one. Take care.